Hey YouTube, welcome to ninjafix.uk. I'm going to show you how to sharpen a knife that's pretty well sharp and just needs a bit of a touch up. And using this gear, or both gear, this is the kind of the sharpening block for honing. Using this gear I'm going to show you how to sharpen a knife that is completely blunt, absolutely completely blunt. This is a knife hone which we developed and we sell it on Amazon, and I just want to quickly demonstrate it. Basically what you do is you hold the blade at 90 degrees and you just draw it up and down like this. Just be careful when you get to the end here, just be very gentle. In fact, it's easier probably to do it up here, because if you slip, the knife will kind of go into mid-air rather than into your hand. As you get further along the blade, you can use more of the rod and then flip it round. You just turn this thing round and do on the other side as well. Exactly the same way. Okay, so that, I'm going to just do a bit more on this side actually, just to even that up a little bit. Okay, so let me just tell you what I mean by sharp. And this is a Japanese made stainless steel knife. You know, the key thing is it's a thin blade. It's got a hollow grinding here, so the edge is actually very thin, and this is what a sharp blade looks like to me. Oops. See that by anyone's standards, that is a sharp knife. If you use that to cut onion or any kind of kitchen stuff, meat, vegetables, it's going to do a really good job. Now this knife by comparison is blunt, and the reason it's blunt is because I have rubbed it quite hard on this abrasive stone, and it's so blunt that, you know, compared to this one, I wouldn't dream of drawing this across my hand because it would cut me very badly. But this one is completely blunt. It's pointless to even try this exercise, but if I do, you'll see that, you know, it doesn't even, it tears if it gets a little bit of purchase. But I'm going to show you how to turn this really blunt piece of steel into this one, which is, you know, absolutely razor sharp. And let's talk about this completely blunt piece of steel. Now this is the we sell on Amazon. Let me just compare these two things for you here, because they are actually, there's a key principle here that's identical in both. And that is that the angle the abrasive is held at from the vertical is 15 degrees. This is perfect for kitchen knives, knives that you would use in a manner that does not involve chopping. So, you know, some people would, but I would not ever use this for chopping. Particularly, I think if there was any bone involved, I would not want to bring this down hard because the edge is really thin. You could also chip the edge as well, and that's not something you want to do with a knife that is really good at slicing. I've talked about honing, which is, you know, when the knife is just a little bit blunt. That's the hone. Let's talk about this piece of kit. Now you can make this yourself, or you can get one that we've made. But really, what you've got here is a dual-sided, approximately 6-inch stone. These are available in almost every kind of DIY shop or tool shop like Wix or B&Q. This has a medium abrasion grit on this side, and it's got a fine one on this side. So that gives you a fairly good spread of sharpening. And this stone here, this is a synthetic ceramic. This one, compared to these two, it's really a lot finer. And actually, it's comparable to this. So if you buy this piece of kit with these two stones, you don't need this piece. If you get this piece of kit, it's fine for knives that just need a little bit touching up, like this one, that aren't seriously blunt, but it won't be any good for this. So let's start with this. Now, there are three things that you need to bear in mind when you're trying to sharpen technique, and by technique I'm really talking about consistency. I'm talking about consistency of approach. If you sharpen at an angle which varies with each stroke, then you won't get a consistent edge being put on the knife. What I've got here is, as I say, this completely blunt, really it's more like some kind of pry bar at the moment than it is a knife. Very blunt, a medium grit stone side exposed. And what I'm going to do is hold this knife perpendicular to the wooden tabletop here, and just bring it down. Just want to also move this blade slightly out this way a bit just to get the tip done, because the tip does curve, so you need to kind of adjust for that. So that's got a long way to go. So we're about halfway through this, the first stage of the sharpening process, using the medium grade grit side of the stone. And you can see, or you may be able to see, an edge is starting to appear on this side of the knife. I've got one on this side as well, easy to see, but you can see a slight shininess there. So the thing is, and this is kind of what I'm talking about with regard to technique, this is the right technique, and if you don't find it's getting sharp as quick as you think it should, just carry on. Just carry on being consistent and carry on doing it, and you will find that you will get a sharp edge in the end. Just flip this round, keep doing that every now and again. I've been doing this about 10 minutes now, and you can see there is actually an edge starting to develop, and I actually think that's probably enough now that we've done on the coarse side of the stone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this round and use the fine edge of this dual-sided stone. You're kind of starting on the edge of the stone and then working across onto the flat, going up and down, always making sure that this is 90 degrees to the vertical, which is that, if it's on the table. It's the same on the stone. I'm going to just hold it in my left hand, but you can also hold it, like that. You hold it again, just carry on. Start on the edge of the stone and work onto the flat. Go up and down. Just one point here that's worth noting: when you are drawing the knife up and down the stone, if you go beyond the edge of the stone, you can scratch the blade as the blade touches the side of the stone. So with a bit of practice, you get used to stopping the blade just before you reach the bottom of the stone. It's pure practice like anything else. You'll get good at it. What you can do to protect this blade from being scratched is to take a piece of clear tape or a tape of any kind and just tape it along both sides of the knife. And just to talk about technique again, I'm just going straight up and down for the most part on this knife. You notice which is your dominant hand, because it's a lot easier with your dominant hand, but practice makes perfect, and you do get stronger at your less dominant hand, in this case my left hand. Okay, so I'm just about done, I think, with the medium stone. I've been doing this for about 20 minutes now, and you should be able to see that there is actually a noticeable edge on that blade. It is a lot better than it was. And just to demonstrate how much better it is now than it was, here's a piece of paper. It's the same stuff I used initially to show you the very sharp knife. And you can see that is cutting fairly good. It's certainly, it's a world of difference away from where it was when we first started. You could use that as a kitchen knife quite happily. It's not absolutely super sharp, but it's actually got a cutting edge, whereas previously it did not have a cutting edge. So now's the time to start being careful with it. We'll now switch on to the final stage of this process, which is to use this stone here. That side, I'm really keen that the blade does not hit the steel bracket at the bottom that's holding these stones in place. So I'm just going to put this here so that if I do draw the stone with the knife a bit too far down the blade, it doesn't do any damage to it. And it's exactly the same process. It's just going up and down the blade. Maybe a little more carefully this time because you're working with a shorter length of stone, but it's exactly the same. Flip it around every now and again and do the same on the other side. Going to carry on doing this. I reckon there's about another 10 minutes work probably in this to get a really smooth edge. So here we are. I'm pretty much at the stage where it's ready to demonstrate, but just a couple of things to point out. There's a fair bit of dust on the surface of this table here, and that's caused by the particles coming off this dual-sided stone. Less so this piece of white ceramic, which is so hard that I don't think anything comes off it at all. But the coarse side and the medium side particularly generate a bit of dust, and they don't need to be cleaned because the particles kind of drop off as they get used. Hopefully now you can see that there is actually quite a good final edge. Just be very careful when you're... That's got quite a good, hopefully you can see that, quite a good edge, and so is that. And just to demonstrate, so at the start it couldn't cut, it wouldn't even cut my hand, it wouldn't cut paper at all, it was like a metal pry bar. This is where we are now. It's okay, it's still this is the same kind of paper as the, actually it's 2 sheets, okay, so let's just take that, separate that, and you can see that that is now cutting very, very well. I'd say that most chefs, most people in the kitchen would say that that is actually a pretty good edge, and that has come from a completely blunt, deliberately blunted edge. So I hope this shows, firstly, that this technique works, but also that this gear works. And this equipment you can either buy it on Amazon, ninjafix.uk. You can also make it yourself, and you know what I've got here is approximately 2 inches by 1.5 inch bit of wood. It's 2 inches by maybe 1/2 inch piece of wood here. That's glued and screwed into this piece here. The key thing to note is that the angle, as I said at the start, the angle from the vertical, that angle there from the vertical is 15 degrees. So you just get yourself a protractor very easily. You just measure, you know, on this piece of wood. You draw a line that is 15. Well, you start off with your vertical point, and then you draw a line that's 15 degrees. Clamp this bit of wood on something. Use a mitre saw, cut through you know, at a straight edge at 15 degrees, and then using PVA glue. This is the kind of glue I'm talking about, weatherproof wood adhesive. It's now ready for service in the kitchen. And when you're looking at this blade, just make sure that the final bevel should be the same width on both sides. I think it's actually slightly further on this side, which is, it's probably not surprising because it's the side I'm sharpening with my dominant hand. Another point about these stones, the dual-sided stone, this actually comes from Wicks, it's about £6 I think. There. The white stone you can get, I got this from America. The dual-sided stone does not need cleaning. You can see the debris that's come off here is the stone shedding material, and it doesn't actually collect any grit in the surface of the stone. This, however, does collect a little bit of, this dark stuff is simply microparticles of metal, and it's really easy to get rid of. All you do is run it under a tap, a little bit of washing up liquid if you like, and one of these green nylon scourers. Not a sponge, but it's something a bit tougher. A nylon scourer. You can just wash that and it comes off really, really easily. So that's how you restore it to working good. But please leave a comment below if you like this, if you don't like it, if you've got suggestions, if you've got comments, or you know, if you think you'd like one of these, go to Amazon. This is available for £29, including the stones, and this one is available for £14.95, including our hone. Thanks very much for watching.